Welcome to DasGeek. I got something crazy for you guys today. I've been playing with this for about 2 months now, and it's really interesting. Number one, I've already done a video on Chromebooks, and I was pretty harsh on them. And frankly, I think the Chromebooks deserved it. But one of the other interesting things that happened is you as a community poured the comments in. A lot of people agreeing with me, a lot of people disagreeing with me, a lot of people sitting in the middle. And the great thing is it drove discussion, and that's what I want most of all from this channel, because some of you who disagreed with me were able to find purposes for the Chromebooks in your life that I didn't think about or would use in my life. So that's awesome. And so people who are looking for Chromebooks and things like that would be able to see that as a counter to some of the arguments that I made. But I'm always willing to go back and look at technology again. And Google did something interesting with other manufacturers where they launched a gaming line of Chromebook. This specific one, this Lenovo IdeaPad 5i Chromebook, is only $429. But let me tell you about the star of why that is so impressive in the Chromebook world, because this is a 16-inch 2K screen that runs at 120 hertz. So from a gaming perspective, big green check mark there, right? Because if you're a gamer, you know you want to have more than the 60 hertz monitor in front of you. You want 120 hertz. And for $429, getting a 16-inch 2K screen at 120 hertz, that's insane. So big props to them there. Then we've got this nice aluminum body frame. So this isn't something really cheap where it feels like it's just going to collapse in on itself, or cheap plastic. It actually looks like a really nice computer. Lenovo, you got my attention. You've got 8 gigabytes of RAM in here, but at some point they had to pull back because it's $429. So the processor, an i3-1215U, not the greatest, not what you think about when you think about gaming, but keep in mind Google's entry into gaming here is a little bit of a gotcha, and we'll get into that in a second. And you get 8 gigabytes of RAM, 128 gigabyte eMMC. So they skimped kind of on the storage as well. eMMC is not the fastest kind of storage. It's a much cheaper kind of storage, and that's very little storage, 128 gigabytes there. But obviously they're hoping you're going to use their cloud services and things like that. Google's as guilty as Apple in this. They both love to kind of cheat you on storage or charge you extraordinary prices for storage. But I would say where this Google Chromebook actually is superior is you can install a micro SD card in this and expand your storage anytime you want, which they make it really easy in Chrome OS, which is really nice. So you can have more storage for files and other things if you need it there. But they're not expecting you to store a whole lot of games on this device, because the whole gotcha thing is this is a cloud gaming laptop. So you've got to have an internet always nearby, which, depending on where you're at, is much easier for certain people than others. But if you always have internet nearby, then you can game with this. You got to have an internet connection, and you've got to pay for a monthly subscription, either to GeForce Now or Amazon's gaming cloud service or one of the others. They do give you 3 free months at that $429 to try it all out and game on this device. But that is a little bit of a gotcha, right? That you're going to have to pay for a subscription service to be able to game. The good news is you could utilize that subscription service also on your phones and other things. But it's not really a gaming laptop, is it, if you can't do much gaming on the device itself? Because, like I said, you can get a tablet or something else to also connect to those services. So the big highlight here is the screen. It's kind of what you're getting the most of out of this machine, is a really good screen. But you also got some functionality with the keyboard and trackpad and other things that you get in a nice amount of ports with a standard laptop. So that's why this got my attention. Now, after spending several months with it, let's get into the good, the bad, and the ugly. So when you first get your Chromebook, one of the things I want to give props to from the last time I played with the Chromebook is setup was relatively easy. However, one of the things I didn't like is it wants you to accept a privacy policy that when I was clicking on it, wouldn't actually let me view the privacy policy itself. So I had no idea what I was actually agreeing to, which is kind of like a typical Google move that I would expect from them, but maybe it was just a bug in the software and they've solved that. It instantly, at the time I had a Pixel phone, was able to connect to the Pixel phone, and this created some really cool convergence, the type of convergence that we wish we had more between Windows and Android, but really the company that does it best is Apple. But I was seeing that same kind of convergence here. For instance, I could easily send photos and get messages and things like that between my two devices. And that's a very convenient feature for many people And I love to see that they made that convergence there. The YubiKey is a privacy key that I utilize for two-factor authentication. So that's something that I definitely want to work on machines like that. And that worked out of the box. When you look at the hardware, it obviously has a beautiful screen. Is it as nice as a Retina or those things? No, but it's $429. It's a good 2K screen though, and it's 120 hertz. So I'm going to give the screen all the credit in the world there. And something they did that I absolutely love for a $400 laptop. You don't see this type of stuff a lot of times in these $2,000-$3,000 PC laptops, is a privacy screen on your webcam so that you can just sit there and make sure that nobody can actually look through your webcam if you were hacked or otherwise, because you've got this nice privacy slider right there and you can block that webcam out. I love features like that. And a $429 laptop, Lenovo, crazy over there. I love what you guys are cooking. So then you got your keyboard here. This is a very well-spaced keyboard. It's not up to a ThinkPad standard keyboard, but it's a decent keyboard. There's a little bit of kind of like push in. I don't know if you guys will be able to see it here. It's not the sturdiest. They could probably put a few more posts inside this frame. But again, at $429, I've seen much worse in a $900 laptop than this Flex is. As far as being thin and lightweight, definitely checks the mark there. Again, not the thinnest laptop in the world, but definitely not the heaviest. And a big thing that I complain about a lot on the Hardware Addicts podcast I'm a part of with a lot of PCs is they put the speakers underneath. So they shoot into your lap, which is really stupid, or into a table. Here, they put the speakers up top. And it sounds decent. It's not super loud, but it's not tinny either. So it's got a decent quality, could be a little louder, but I imagine they expect a lot of people to be using headphones when they're gaming in cloud services and stuff like that. So it's passable. And unlike Apple, they give you lots of ports. So big props for them there. So speaking of ports here, if you look on this side, you've got plenty of ports. You got USB-C, standard USB 3.5 millimeter, and a micro SD. And if we turn this around, we've got another USB, USB-C, and of course we have our lock here that we can utilize. So a lot of ports on this gaming Chromebook that's only $429. And I appreciate that a lot, that they went ahead and made sure you have lots of options for connecting controllers and other things that you would need to make this a gaming laptop. As far as battery life goes, I'm not impressed with this from a battery life standpoint, and it could probably get you somewhere between 8 and 10 hours of use. That's not gaming. If you were gaming on this, I think you're going to get much, much less. You'd probably be lucky to pull 3 to 4 hours out of this. But this is something that's a problem not only with Chromebooks, but also PC as well. The only person who's really getting great battery life out of their machines right now is MacBooks and very, very expensive PCs. This has a pretty weak battery, 4-cell battery in it to begin with. So that's definitely an area where they cut some costs to get you down that $429. Thinking it's a gaming laptop, you're probably going to be plugging it in most of the time. So just keep that in mind. And you don't get a touch screen with this either, and you can't fold this into tablet mode, but it does fold completely flat. What you would use that for, I have no earthly idea, but at least there's plenty of options, and the screen is nice and stiff for you to get that right angle if you're doing some gaming in the airport or something else, and you need to angle your screen down. It's a nice stiff screen that's going to stay there right where you want it. So when it comes to hardware at $429, I know I keep mentioning that price, but it's an important part of this package, because this was $900. I'd be feeling very differently about this, but at $400, I think the hardware is more than gracious on Lenovo's part. I think they went above and beyond what I would expect for a $400 machine. It's classy. It feels good in the hands. It's about 4 pounds. Again, this isn't the lightest machine. This isn't the thinnest machine, but it does really well. And as far as its noise, it does a really good job keeping itself cool, and the noise is down to a minimum. All right, so finally, let's talk about the gaming portion of this, because after all, this is a gaming Chromebook, so you're going to want to game on it. And how is the gaming on it? Well, it's not so great. The i3 version of this, which I don't think Lenovo's doing a whole lot of promoting on right now, they're really, if anything, pushing the i5 version, because this thing throttles a lot. Utilizing both Amazon's gaming cloud service and the NVIDIA GeForce cloud service, the NVIDIA one, far, far superior, in my opinion, all the way around. But it just depends on the games you're looking for. you're not going to be playing Modern Warfare 2 on this. Unless you do the GeForce one, you don't even have option for Fortnite. And the GeForce one, you do have the option for Fortnite. So keep in mind, different cloud services have different subscriptions and games that you can play on it. But things were kind of choppy, especially when it got into the AAA titles that you're streaming. Now, if you were playing an older game, if you like a lot of older games and things like that you could stream as well, it had no problem at all playing those. So just keep that in mind, that this is a gaming laptop. You're going to have to pay for another subscription service. That subscription service may still not allow you to play all the cool games that you want to play with your friends. And therefore, if you're just a specific use case of a type of gamer, kind of cool, $429. But $429 on the used market for a PC to load Linux on or other things, you might be able to do much better for that $400 if you're willing to do the used market. As far as price, you got 3 months of Luna for $9.99, but then you have to pay to play some of the newer games in there. For instance, if you want to play something like Assassin's Creed Valhalla, that requires another Ubisoft payment of $17.99 a month to play that. So these cloud services, not only do you have the monthly subscription fee, but you've got some payments that you're going to have to make for other certain developers that offer their games in the cloud, but not for that same subscription price you're paying all in one. You've got NVIDIA, which is $59.99 for their highest tier. This has many more games, but it also was a complete pain to sign up for. Again, you do get 3 months free with that $429, and there was no credit card required or forced subscription, which I really appreciated. And it states that it supports over 2,000 Steam games. So if you already have a big library of Steam games and things that are capable of being played that you can connect into the NVIDIA cloud, that will save you some money. But keep in mind, they also have some additional subscription tiers there that you can choose from as well. It'll be a little cheaper. So it's cloud gaming. I mean, I don't know. So my final thoughts are this. Lenovo did an amazing job with the hardware. And at the price point, absolutely genius. I can't believe they did it for $429, which makes me extra pissed off at the PC manufacturers selling $1,000 laptops with 1920 by 1080 60 hertz screens and things in them and trying to pass that by the market. But that's a whole different story. When it comes to Chrome OS, though, it's just too restrictive and it's too fractured all over the place. I think they need to figure out what they want to be at the end of the day. And this gaming entry that they had just confuses that even more, because those of you who basically told me in the comments that you really like Chrome OS, it's something you give to your parents or other people, you're worried about installing viruses and things. Chrome OS is very secure and locked down. It's very easy to administrate from an educational standpoint. I get all of those points that you're making there. And for very specific use cases, I can see why some people go out there and pick up a Chrome OS or a Chromebook. But at the end of the day, you can do much better in PC, although Windows is really making that, Windows 11 especially, making that argument maybe not pass the test as much as I want anymore, because Windows 11 is just becoming such garbage. But you certainly can do better in the used market with the used PC and putting Linux on there, because with the gaming on Linux and the Steam Deck and everything else, it's just a whole new world out there. Plus, you can install all the IDEs and other software you need without all that fracturing. So it's interesting. Love the hardware. If you're in the market for a Chromebook, I think you would be hard pressed to do better for this kind of hardware at $429. Me personally, I'll be selling this, so be looking for it out there in the used market, or go purchase yourself one brand new. That's my thoughts on this. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And if you do get a Chromebook, the one thing that I want to tell you that's most important is to make sure you have a really strong and good password manager, and that's where Bitwarden comes in. Bitwarden is a service that I used before they ever sponsored us, because it's one of the password managers that I truly trust. And if you've seen the news out there about some of the other password managers that have had all these breaches and other issues, Bitwarden just does it right. They encrypt it on your device. Before it ever leaves your device, it's encrypted, so that no matter what's happening in that transport, people can't do middleman attacks and other things in there. They have ability to support YubiKey, U2F Duo, all of those things for a $10 a year subscription, but you can sign up for free. Go check out what I'm talking about, bitwarden.com/tux, that's /TUX, whether you're using Chrome OS, Linux, Android, iPhone, MacBooks, it doesn't matter. It all works. Bitwarden works on absolutely everything. You need a really good password manager that you trust, and Bitwarden is that company for me. Gaming Chromebook. Who would have thunk it? Next, we're going to have pigs flying in the air. This is crazy. Let me know what you think. Thanks, everybody. Now get out there and fill your brain.